We're live. Let's go.
Okay, so I think the question is on Resolution C, paragraph 2, what does it do? And it addresses two separate things. The first portion of it, all but the last sentence, have to do with the 15-16 labor negotiations. And so that provides that any surplus funds after the negotiations are done, it sets aside the money for those contracts, fill those contracts. If there's money left over after those contracts are negotiated, then that money will be transferred to the cash reserve fund at the end of the biennium. Okay? That's what the first part of the paragraph does. The second part of the paragraph has to do with the 14-15 money for the police contract, which has not yet been signed. And so what this says is $856,000 is reappropriated for the police union contract. It's not anticipated though, and it's $856, which reflects the cut that Roy's amendment made from $956. So he got a $100,000 cut out of that fund. It's anticipated that when the contract is signed, it will be less than $856,000. And my recollection is that $200,000, if there is that much saving after the contract is signed, the first $200,000 will go to fire apparatus. And anything that's saved beyond that $200,000, whether it's $100,000 or $200,000 or whatever, will go to the fire pension fund, fire police pension fund. So that's what this does.
Cindy.
Thank you. Okay, so the first part of paragraph 2, up until that last sentence, that's exactly how Lyrian's amendment was written in paragraph 3. So of her amendment to Resolution A. So the only part that we really need in Resolution C is that 856 and thereafter, correct? Because it looks to me like these two conflict. Any surplus funds remaining in the line item after contracts are signed and amounts are distributed to the department's budgets up to $500,000 shall be transferred to the cash reserve fund at the end of the biennium. Lyrian's reads, any surplus funds remaining in this line item after contracts are signed and amounts are distributed to the department's budgets and after $200,000 has been transferred to the purchase of Lincoln Fire and Rescue apparatus shall be transferred to the police and fire pension fund at the end of the biennium. So in this Resolution C, we have the surplus going to cash reserve fund.
Well, we're talking about two separate years here, two separate funds.
Well, hers reads 2015, 2016 also.
Okay. Well, what I would ask is Steve come up, because when I drafted this, I wasn't looking at Lyrian's amendment.
Okay,
And I don't have it in front of me now.
I understand.
Would be 14, 15. Yeah, obviously we can't have,
Surplus line here needs to go because it conflicts with what I amended in Roy's Resolution A. Just this one sentence, any surplus funds after the contracts are signed and amounts are distributed to the department's budgets up to $500,000 shall be transferred to the cash reserve fund at the end of the biennium. I think that, as I understand the language in my motion to amend, which my intention was to redirect that to the pension, the police fire pension, not the cash reserve fund. So
okay.
I should make a motion to strike this one line from section 2. And thank you for the catch, Cindy.
Okay. I'll second that.
Seconded by Roy. Discussion on the amendment to Resolution C.
Can you tell me which line again we're striking?
Any surplus funds remaining in this line item after contracts are signed and amounts are distributed to departments' budgets up to $500,000 shall be transferred to the cash reserve fund at the end of the biennium.
That's number 2.
Okay. Discussion on the amendment to Resolution C.
I think that resolves my draw to the conflict.
So we just resolved that one line through a friendly
Yeah, with
deletion.
once we vote on it, we'll have it resolved. Carl?
Thank you. I think at midnight, Cinderella's glass slippers and come off and the whole thing. So this is really, really important. And we heard from Tom and Judy how important and passionate they are about their people, and we would hear the same thing from Pat and Lynn and everybody else who's here. This this is really important, and I mean, that they said how hard they worked to save this money, and how they utilize these funds. That's our culture. That's the culture that our city runs. That's the culture that our department heads instill within their workers. It's not a spend it or lose it culture. It's a spend it, it's a save it, and use it for big projects that we don't have the money otherwise to be able to do. If we don't do this, it's a travesty of $10 million potentially for things that we can utilize that we just that I think it would be irresponsible to not allow us to do that for the needs of the city.
We gotta vote on it.
Further discussion? Do you have an issue?
No.
You good?
We have to vote on the.
Okay.
We
Okay.
have to vote on the amendment to the.
Yeah. No, I just want to make sure we weren't doing something.
And maybe, Steve, can you come up one more last time? Do you have a copy of my motion to amend?
Somewhere. This? No, that's not.
I just want to clarify this, Steve, because in my motion to amend it for Resolution A, it says any surplus funds remaining in this line item after contracts are signed and amounts are distributed and after the $200,000 has been transferred to the purchase of the Lincoln Fire and Rescue apparatus shall be transferred to the Police and Fire Pension Fund. It doesn't say at the end of the biennium, it just stops. So is that where?
Well, if we did it at the end of the fiscal year, we'd be doing it here in the next 2 hours. And
So
we
then it
obviously
needs to,
aren't.
so it is synonymous at the end of the biennium,
Yeah.
even though it doesn't include that language? Okay, then I don't have any changes. Thank you.
But basically, there's intent there for us to
Oh, yeah.
transfer the funds, right?
Definitely,
So,
Okay.
Okay. Call the roll on the amendment unless we have any further discussion?
And Cindy's amendment was to strike
Right.
that line.
Yeah.
This is Gaylor Baird's to strike that line.
I moved it based
Yeah.
on her
Yep.
Yeah.
catch.
That
Maybe
was
she would like to
Cindy's.
second.
Cindy had made a motion to strike paragraph 2 from Resolution C.
Yeah, I withdraw that motion.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're voting just on those lines?
Just
within
remove
paragraph?
that.
Just to
Removing
remove that
one
line.
Okay.
Okay, call the roll on the amendment.
Christensen,
Yes.
Eskridge,
Yes.
Fellers.
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Raybold,
Yes.
Camp.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
Okay, discussion on the main motion? Seeing none, call the roll on Resolution C.
Christensen,
Yes.
Eskridge,
Yes.
Fellers.
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Raybold,
Yes.
Camp.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
All right,
Okay.
move to item number 23.
This is approving the closeout of completed construction projects.
Hold it, I'd like to have a reconsideration on Resolution A. We can't?
Let's do it on,
You voted for it.
Can we do it later?
we can do it later. Yeah, let's go on to item 23.
Okay.
All right, item 23 was introduced by Lamb.
So moved.
Second?
Second by Lyrian, discussion.
We do have a motion to amend number 1.
Well, I think I need to move it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, so here we go. Motion to amend number 1 on this CIP transfer ordinance states, move to transfer $510,000 from the Keno Fund, Parks and Recreation Centennial Mall Project, to Parks and Rec CIP Project for Repair and Replace Select New Facilities. This basically allows the money that was identified as one-time savings and amended to Roy's Resolution A to fund the Woods Tennis and Keno, or Woods Tennis and N Street Bikeway. The savings from that free up the Keno revenue to go back to the parks maintenance budget.
Discussion on the motion to amend. Cindy?
Yes, thank you. In the, the ordinance 15102, on the page 3 of 3, where it talks about taking those funds from Centennial Mall. That's the same project number, or we're changing it, we're taking those funds from the Centennial Mall. Originally, the mayor's budget had asked for 510, and the idea is to move it to a specific project, which is just to repair and replace new facilities. And can you tell me, is this comporting with what was in your budget amendment? Your amendment?
This was the stated intention. Because this is the CIP transfer ordinance, it has to have this component to it. You asked what the Parks and Rec repair and replace select new facilities line item is. That is basically the bulk of where parks maintenance money lies in the parks budget. We can bring up Lynn if you want to have him clarify.
No, I just want to make sure it doesn't affect, because part of that also in the CIP was the woods playfield irrigation going to gardens and maintenance, and so that doesn't disrupt that part of the CIP.
No, it doesn't touch that.
Thank you.
Okay, further discussion? All right, call the roll on the motion to amend number 1.
Christensen,
Yes.
Eskridge.
Yes.
Fellers.
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes?
Raybold,
Yes.
Camp.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
All right, and on the main motion?
Christensen,
Yes.
Eskridge.
Yes.
Fellers.
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Raybold,
Yes.
Camp.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
All right,
All right, ordinance's third reading. Item 24, comp plan conformance 15008, declaring 7 vacant parcels of land generally located at North 15th and Claremont as surplus, introduced by Raybold.
So moved.
Second.
seconded by Carl. Discussion? Motions? No motions? Okay, good. Call the roll.
Christensen,
Yes.
Eskridge.
Yes.
Fellers.
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Raybold,
Yes.
Camp.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 25, change of zone 15021. This was introduced by Raybold.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Roy.
We do have a motion to amend number 1,
Okay,
if someone would move
Move
it.
to amend, motion to amend number 1.
Second?
I'll move
Seconded by
amendment
Jane.
number 1.
it's a motion night. All right, discussion on the motion. Do you want to read the explanation on there?
This is to provide a specific legal description and depiction thereof for the change of zone from P Public to the B2, O3, and R4 zoning districts.
All right, discussion on the motion. All right, call the roll on the motion.
Christensen,
Yes.
Eskridge.
Yes.
Fellers.
Yes.
Gaylor Baird.
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Raybold,
Yes.
Camp.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
Okay, and then on the main item.
Christensen,
Yes.
Eskridge.
Yes.
Fellers.
Yes.
Gaylor Baird.
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Raybold,
Yes.
Camp.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Resolutions on first reading, just item 26. Ordinances on first reading are items 27 through 38.
Mr. Chair, I would move for adjournment and also remind our viewers and guests here in the room that we will be taking next week off for Labor Day, and so we meet on September 14th.
All right, call the roll.
But we need
Oh,
a
We
second.
need a second, sorry.
Second.
Seconded by Roy. Call the roll.
Christensen,
Yes.
Eskridge.
Yes.
Fellers.
Yes.
Gaylor Baird.
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Raybold,
Yes.
Camp.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
We're adjourned.